Wanna hear the truth, don't want no lies. I done told you about it 1,000 times, yeah. Tell me right now.
What's up, brothers? It's your girl Ashley Maurice, and I am here finally with the story time about my ex. I know I have been promising this series to you guys for a really long time now, but now I think that it's fairly necessary to do so. This series is gonna be 10 videos. It's gonna have different events from beginning to end of my relationship with this guy, and fuck it, I'm telling the whole thing, the whole truth, and nothing but the fucking truth. So we're gonna start off with how I met this guy. So it was Columbus Day. No, it wasn't. I've been telling this story all the way wrong. Or have I? No, it was Columbus Day. Columbus Day 2012. My friend and I, we're gonna name her Bianca, and she watches my videos, so hello, you know who you are. She and I were on the bus. We were going to the hood. She's kind of from like the burbs of Connecticut, if you will. So and I'm from around that way. I just live on the opposite side of town now. So we were on our way to the hood, and we were on the bus, and I noticed that she's texting someone, but the name like of the phone, like in the phone, it was the person that I thought she was texting basically wasn't who she was texting. I thought she was texting a completely different person that I know by that name. So we get to the bus stop where we're getting off at. It's this local Chinese spot in the hood, and a friend of ours is waiting for us. So 3 of us go inside the spot. Bianca orders us all food, and we take a seat. So the way the seats are, there is 2 benches. So it was our table, and then there was a table behind us. Those are the only 2 seats in that little restaurant or whatever. So this guy walks in. I'm gonna describe him. 6'3", light skin, face full of freckles. He had on a hoodie. I believe he had on sweats, and then he had a sidekick. Now, like I said, this was 2012. I didn't know that they still had sidekicks back then, but that's the type of phone that he had. So he sits down at the table behind us. He doesn't, like, he just sits there. So I'm just like, you just come in here and you're not going to get any food. You're just coming here to sit down. But then again, that's normal. Like I said, we were in the hood. That's what people do. They come anywhere they fucking feel like, and they just sit down. So, he's just sitting there. He has his head down. He's on the phone. We're talking. And back then, my friend used to get on me a lot about my wall, because behind this, there was it was a wall full of Chris Brown pictures. And he always used to get on me about that, because Bianca and I were big Chris Brown stans back then. And I hear the guy mumble, "Oh, that's a Fatal Attraction." So I look at Bianca like, who the fuck, like, why is he talking to us? And I just ignored it, because part of me was just like, who the fuck are you? But the other part of me was like, didn't care, because it's just like, okay, well, maybe he's just listening to our conversation. We finish our food or whatever, and then the guy gets up and he daps up our friend, and then he gives Bianca a hug. So I'm sitting at the table looking at everybody like, so this whole time y'all knew who the fuck this nigga was? No, like, when I tell you he came in and sat down, he didn't speak to anybody when he came in. So I was just like, so y'all knew this nigga this whole time? So now that I think about it, that's who she was texting on our way there. So I get home later on that night, and I get a mention on Twitter. And it was just like, oh, I kind of met you today. Okay, I guess. So I click on his page, I go to his picture, and I'm looking at the guy, I'm like, oh, that was a nigga in the Chinese shop. So I mentioned him back, I was like, oh, nice to meet you. He's like, my nigga, you didn't speak to anybody, you were just sitting there. I was like, oh, you were the guy in the Chinese shop, nice to meet you, blah, blah, blah. Or whatever. And, it was a weird encounter, but it was just like, okay, he's cute or whatever. It is what it is. So, a couple days go by, and I'm on FaceTime with Bianca, and she said to me, she was like, oh, Freckles subbed you on Twitter. So I'm just like, what does it say? Because it's like, okay, if you're gonna sub me, I at least want to know what it says. Because I didn't follow him back on Twitter. He followed me, but I didn't follow him. Because I was that type of bougie. I'm still like that now. Like, if I don't know you or if we don't have the same interests on Twitter, I'm not gonna follow you back. I'm sorry. That's just me. My ratio is pretty okay, and I'm okay with that. So, she tells me what the tweet says, and then I sub him, and I'm just like, I wish I had one of my followers' number or something to that extent. And then her screen pauses. So I guess she texted him and was like, oh, like, should sub you on Twitter. And then I guess he subbed me back, and he was just like, all you had to do was ask. So then she tells me that, and I mentioned him, because I ain't no punk ass bitch. I mentioned him, and I was just like, alright, DM me. And like I said, I wasn't following him. So he mentioned me back. He was like, I mean, I would, but I can't because you're not following me. So I followed. I was like, oh, my bad. So I followed him. And then I guess we like exchanged information in our DMs or whatever. And at this point, Bianca's like mad hype on FaceTime. And I'm just looking at it on my iPod like, bitch, if you don't calm your ass down, like, chill out. So we go back to the hood a couple days later, and now this is probably October 12th. Yeah, it was October 12th. So we go back to the hood, we meet up with our other friend at this like community center or whatever, and then we go outside, he brings us to the trap, blah, 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 blah. We just sitting there, we chilling or whatever in the trap, and everyone's talking, and we all cooling, and then she gets a text from Freckles, and he was basically saying, oh, you know, I'm at the corner store, come up. He and I were texting as well, but he didn't mention anything to me. So I guess this was like a setup between the two of them. And he had, she was like, come on, bitch, let's go. So we walked maybe about 10 feet up the street. And he comes out of the corner store. And when he came out that corner store, my fucking heart fucking dropped. Like, he had a fresh cut, waves was on spin, mustache was lined up, he had on a fresh white tee with a fucking Nike or Adidas, I don't remember which one, I think it might have been Nike, a Nike black tracksuit, and I was just like, damn, like, goddamn, like, you look mad good, son, like, fuck. So she kind of like, we all go to his house, like, we're sitting in the stairwell inside his house. So it's like, it was a two-family house. So you know how you have like the first floor, they have their own door, you go straight in, and then the second side, you go in and you go up the stairs. So we're on the stairs inside the door. I guess this really was like a plot between the two of them, because Bianca gets a text from our other friend at the community center, because he had went back across the street when we left. So he went back into the community center, and she goes to meet back up with him. So he and I are just talking on the stairs, like, the way he's sitting on the stairs, and I'm like kind of sitting between his legs, but like I have my back turned to him, so like we're talking but we're not looking at each other. So at some point in this conversation, he pulls my head back, and like we're talking like that. So he has his head on, and like we're talking like this, and people just started coming in and out of the hallway, going up and down the stairs. He was just like, fuck it, let's just go inside. So we go inside, he introduces me to his cousin, who I fucking can't stand, but that's another story for another fucking day. So we go inside, we sit on the couch, we're talking or whatever, and Bianca, I don't know if Bianca texted him or if I sent her SOS, because we were getting kind of close. And plot twist, I had a fucking boyfriend at the time. So yeah, I'm hanging out with this guy, and I have a dude, like legit, I have a whole ass boyfriend. And so I might have sent her SOS, or she might have sent him a text saying that she was coming, but he sent me downstairs to open the door for her. So I opened the door, and she's just like, where is he? I was like, he's inside. She's like, when the fuck did y'all go inside? And I was just like, oh, we went in probably about a couple minutes after you left. So she gave me this look, and I'm just like, bitch, I have a nigga, like, we're not doing anything. Like, I just met this nigga 4 or 5 days ago. I don't, you know, it's nothing like that deep. And basically we had we all was standing up there, we were talking, and then it was time for us to get on the bus and go home. So we went out, like, we all went like we went our some ways, he went back upstairs. And after that, my visits to see him became more frequent, and my visits to see my boyfriend became non-existent. We never really did anything until I was out of that relationship, which I ended up ending October 25th of that year. And that was kind of like our 3-month anniversary type thing. So basically I texted him, I was just like, yo, I can't do this anymore, or whatever. But as I'm texting him this, I'm getting on the bus to go see Freckles, which probably wasn't the best, but it is what it is, and that's what happened. And I get there, I was with my friend Tiara. Well, that's what we're gonna name her, that's not actually her name. But I was with my friend Tiara, and I had hooked her up with his cousin. I was in the kitchen, we were all in the kitchen, and I looked at everybody, and I was just like, I no longer have a problem. Because that's what we were referring to him as. We were referring to him as my problem. Not my boyfriend, but my problem. Because of the simple fact that there was issues between our family. There were problems in our family previously. It was causing like a rift in our relationship, which is probably why I steered away from my boyfriend and kind of drove my car towards Freckles. And I mean, it is what it is, but that's what happened. So at that point, we just was like, fuck it, like, you're single now, so what are we gonna do? And it kept, like, it was literally going on for a while. It was like me and Tiara would go over there, and then her and his cousin had a falling out, and so then it went from 2 of us, you know, going over there every day after school to it just being me going over there every day after school. And one of my, I guess I can call him my classmate, because I mean, we went to the same school, we didn't have any classes together, but he was in our circle. And I guess the 2 of them knew each other from like back when they were like kids. So Freckles was walking me to the bus stop. It's Halloween night, and you gotta be very, very careful in the hood on Halloween. So he was walking me to the bus stop, and he was there, the guy was there, and he basically looked at us, and he was like, what's going on here? And we just looked at you, he was like, nothing, like, we're just friends. And he kind of like looked at both of us and was like, yeah, right, friends. And at that point, I was tired of telling people that we were friends, because it's like, we had been messing around for about a month. If you look at the dates, 9, 12, and then we're at the end of the month. We're at the very last day of October. We met October 9th. We're at October 31st. So if you really look at the dates, we were moving really fast, but we hadn't done anything together until maybe the day after I announced that I was single, so like October 26th maybe. And then that night I just texted him. I was just like, I'm tired of telling people that we're friends. And he was like, you had me at hello, or that's all you had to say. Something with it, something corny as fuck like that. Like legit something corny as fuck like that. And that's pretty much how that went. And he tried to get me to ask him out, and I was just like, I don't know, that's really what you want. So that's how that went. We ended up making it official on Halloween night, which is probably a really fucking bad idea. I feel like the date put a curse on us. Maybe if we had waited like a day later or a day earlier, we would have been fine. Or not, because niggas are trash. But yeah, that's basically what happened. We made it official on Halloween, and that's literally just like the beginning of the end. That's literally like, that's how everything started. We met, and I mean, it was under weird circumstances, but like we meshed really well. And I don't even think that 3-year age gap really mattered. But yeah, that's it. I'll see you guys in the next one. And like, comment, subscribe, and hopefully I'll have the second video out within a month, because you guys know that we're still going on vacation. I'm gonna have you pumping out a lot of vlogs. Hopefully I can pump out the vlogs while we're out there. Maybe not, who knows, I don't. But yeah, I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace. You like my list? I know you like my list. I like my list. You like my list? I like my list.